It's an honor and a privilege, sir. I honestly never in my wildest dreams would have been sitting here talking to a 5-time world champion. And thank you for that.
No, absolute pleasure. I watched a little bit of your escapades, I guess. Equally, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to somebody with a helmet looking like Darth Vader, and at least you sound a little clearer. But no, it's an honour to come and have just a general chit-chat with somebody who loves motorcycles.
What I want to avoid is that I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the love of motorcycles. And how can that actually affect your life? You know more than other people. You put this helmet on and everything else disappears. You know, it's you and the motorcycle and the connection between the two. So I find it therapeutic. I mean, I called it my relief, my medicine in this crazy world. And this is what I try to portray. I don't want it to be about the person. You know, I want it to be about the love of motorcycles and how that will affect you mentally, socially, and everything else that comes with it.
You've certainly hit the nail on the head. Equally, I think your passion and desire to show your love of motorcycling comes through, and it's not taken away by, as you say, being overshadowed by another personality, which clearly you are. You know, to create this RJ persona, but it's fantastic. You can see your passion.
I grew up watching you guys and seeing, you know, you handling a 500cc monster the way you did. Very few people could do that, and this is what really intrigues me, is that how did you do it? You know, in this day and age, you hear those, you know, MotoGP riders saying, oh, it's all about the electronics and electronics this and electronics that, and you guys didn't have any of that stuff. You had a 500cc monster that it only was controlled with the connection between your wrist and your brain. It was just incredible. How did you do it?
Yeah, clearly the brain wasn't engaged some of the time.
I guess so.
But you're very kind. But it's like, honestly, some of the Marquez, I should say, and Rossi and a bunch of the guys on the grid could ride those bikes to the limit. But I think today the difference between today's bikes and say 20 years ago anyway, or 30 years ago even beyond, is that it was only ever a handful, and it's still today to a degree, except for this year, that there's a few guys who dominate, but the field's a lot closer. One, because the bikes are all a little bit closer, but because of the electronics. But yeah, before it was a right hand and the clutch basically with the 500, because you couldn't roll out of the throttle quick enough to stop the wheel spinning. So
that was your traction control, basically.
You control the wheel spin with the clutch. Yeah. It's the only way you'd stop it spinning. So, today there's crashes, but nothing like the crashes what you had before. The tracks are a little safer, whatever else. But it all started from a passion. You know, that's what it all started with me, riding little dirt bikes around initially in the backyard, and then onto the dirt bike tracks, and then it went on and went well beyond I ever thought it would be. But it all started about passion, and I think, you know, thankfully motorcycle sales are growing around the world, and you must take a bit of credit for that as well, because everyone's online these days, everyone's watching things that you're doing, and you're having fun and you're showing what the bike can do. And that's what I enjoy about watching your videos, you know, tapping people on the shoulders, high-fiving, you know, pulling up next to a good-looking girl and saying hello, all this type of stuff. You know?
I mean, that's part of life. I mean, you mentioned the normal part of riding. Do you still do that? Do you still go out for the fun of riding? What bikes do you own? You know, do you still have that passion?
I do, but not as I once had, as far as riding on the street. To be honest, once I started at sort of what they call now MotoGP 500cc back then, yeah, and competing and riding all the time. I very rarely rode on the street. I had, when I was living in Europe full time, I had a Ducati Monster. Yeah, just get around town. but that was pretty much just to go and pick up the bread and milk. And occasionally I'd go for a ride with some friends. And people like Michael Schumacher and myself used to go for rides on Harleys, believe it or not, things like that. So just studying around the place. But I do have a few motorcycles here in Australia. I've got a couple in Europe. I've got a scooter, to get around town, and a CB1000R, I think it is. I've got one of those here as well. I had planned just before the big earthquake in Nepal a few years ago. We had planned, there was a few of us to go out there on the old Royal Enfields and do a run through there. But, I'll ride anyway. I prefer riding in the heat than the cold, that's for sure. So, and certainly the rains, I'm not a big on the street. And the rain on the racetrack's a different thing. If I can ask, where I've seen a few, you've been all over the place. Some of the places, some of the areas around the south of France and through the French Alps and so on, I've got some faint memories on, but where would you think? I see Costa Rica, I see Middle East, I see, where do you say South Africa, where do you say you've enjoyed the best?
I tell you, people ask me, you've done many passes in Switzerland, like the Stelvio Pass and the Forca and this and that and that, and all these famous places that people talk about. I was in South Africa and went up to the mountain kingdom of Lesotho because I wanted to do the Sani Pass, which is, they say it is the most dangerous road in Africa. So it goes down from the mountains of Lesotho down to South Africa, and Top Gear called it that anyway. So I was really looking forward to that, and it's all dirt, by the way. It's on dirt. I had the GS 1200 fully laden and so on. Then we go into Lesotho and very small roads, most of it is dirt and so on. And then I hit this road up in the mountain, 100 kilometers of pure heaven. The best tarmac you've ever seen in your life. Bend after bend after bend. 2 cars, 1 pickup truck and 1 car I met in 100 kilometers.
Wow.
And then we were staying up in where the dam is, because their main thing is that they sell electricity to South Africa. And they had, the place where the workers work, they turned it into a little motel. So we were staying there. I arrived there first and I said, guys, what is this road that I've been on? It's the most magnificent and unbelievable road I've been in on my life. He said, multinationals come and steal our resources and they build us roads that nobody uses. It was just incredible. And then at the side of the road, you see all these, word building machines and road building machines. And I said, what are these for? Is it too expensive to send them back? They leave them here. That was the most surprising place I've ever been. It was incredible. And then we hit the Sani Pass, and I was really looking forward to it, pumping myself up in the morning. This is the most dangerous road in Africa. Went down it in 10 minutes, and I said, what is that? It is nothing,
Right.
So what your expectation is and what reality is completely different. For you, which country you used to enjoy the most?
Certainly, I always enjoyed South America for some reason. The Brazil, Argentina races, I don't know, just the buzz of the place or whatever it was. I had some of my best results, consistent best results. I had good results everywhere, but basically year on, year out, year in, year out, I should say, at those places, I seem to just get good results. And the vibe from the people, everyone's happy, everyone's sort of having fun. Nobody's uptight, nobody's caring about where you're from, what you're doing, basically. And it's about, let's go and race this weekend. And that's what I enjoyed about racing. And you do lose sight of that a little bit. To go to places like that, it's just a bit of a relief, and you're just back having fun going racing. So you just become Mick the racer again. I had a few places I didn't enjoy going and racing, but I still had good results there because that's what I had to do. Yeah. But I didn't enjoy, the last 10 yards of the runway was the best part of the country. Because I'm flying out. But can I ask, what is your favourite bike? I see, whether a Husqvarna, KTM or whatever it is, there's a lot of those there. And the old bikes, what is that, an old DT Yamaha or something like that?
Yeah, I've got a 3 two-strokes actually, because I grew up riding two-strokes. When I was 9, I started riding, and long story short, I got a Yamaha 360 DT when I was 10 years old. And it's a two-stroke, Yeah.
Big kid, were you?
I was a small kid actually, but I just managed to, jump on the thing. And then I've got a Yamaha DT 400 as well. And recently I got a 300 TPI, which is, these fuel injected two-strokes. And I converted it into a supermoto basically. But this one here is my favorite bike of all time. It's a Husqvarna Nuda 900R.
Looks a bit small.
Yeah, I'm not like you. I mean, look at your background. I'm sitting in a little office here. It's that connection. Sometimes you have a connection with a certain thing, right? It's not the best bike in the world. It doesn't have the best specs in the world, but certainly it's what made me come back properly to motorcycling, because I had an extremely bad accident and I wasn't riding for many years, and then I shouldn't have ridden for a year, but then things dragged on, and you know how life comes on, and then I was busy in work and so on and so forth. And this is the first time I'm going to be talking about this. I became extremely obese, and I had heart problems, and I had health problems and mental problems, and I was just doing 18-hour work. And I remember one day sitting on my couch, and there's a park near us, and I said, I gotta start walking. So I got up off the couch, walked 100 yards and came back. I couldn't walk, you know. I was a fit young man and full of vigor and on motorcycles, and I ended up like that. And people say, is it because you didn't go back on a motorcycle? And I said, no, it's because I neglected myself. So I sat down on that couch, and I remember it was a July something, and I said, next July, I'm going to do an enduro tour. That is my goal. I gotta get back in shape and do an enduro tour. And true to form, in 1 year, I went back to shape, and I went and did that enduro tour, and it saved my life. And then I said, no, I've gotta get back to motorcycling. I saw this bike in a magazine. It was an artist sketch. That's the days when BMW bought Husqvarna, and they were still building them in Italy. I took that, I tore it from a magazine and went to the BMW dealer. I said, if that bike ever comes out looking like that, give me a call. And he did. And that's how that love story between RJ and the Husqvarna Nuda started. And people appreciate that, you know. They see that there is a connection. I mean, I'm sure the bikes behind you over there, there's one of them that has an extreme importance to you.
One from each World Championship, these ones here.
Yeah.
So one from all the fives, but the 97, of course, I had a great year. It was well above expectations. So certainly that one has a little bit more meaning to me. But no, that's a brilliant story. It shows the motivation that you've got as well, when you set yourself a goal and you achieved it. Can I ask how much weight you lost?
I lost 42 kilograms in 1 year, and all through health stuff, you know. And that's how much I gained from the time that I was actually, you know, healthy and fit young man into an obese, no lookout in life for, you know what I mean? Just work, and what for, you know? Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do now? You can't hop off the motorcycle now.
No, I can't. And this epidemic, unfortunately, destroyed many plans. But then, you know, that's the easy part for us to say. There are so many people suffering 100 times more than us. I mean, who am I to say it stopped me traveling? You know what I mean? So what? But, you know, there are so many people affected by this. It's incredible.
Did you ever do any competition when you were younger, or it was all just messing around?
No, it was all messing about. So mostly it was on dirt, as you know, when you start young, you know.
Yeah.
And if I go back in life, most probably I would do it, you know. But I started doing some track days, and then I stopped because it turned out to be, it became, you know, it's a show-off thing, you know. Who's got the best bike and the best tire warmers, and you know, and no tire, you know how it is. It's
absolutely.
I said no, not for me. I prefer to go to obscure places where you ride according to the road and your ability.
And somewhere like Costa Rica, it's a safe enough country to run around in with more the traffic and whatever else, or it's...
Yeah, I remember we were on the Pacific side and I wanted to go to the Caribbean side because you can go between the two. And people said, it's a dangerous road, it's all full of truckers and it's only one road, don't go, it's not worth it. And again, just like the Sani Pass, you go through and you say, what is all the fuss about? It's like a stroll in the middle of nowhere, you know?
So where do you want to head to when you haven't done as yet?
I would like to do the Himalayan tour, you know, to go up into the world, you know, highest motorable road. I would want to do that on a most basic bike that you can get, you know, just get back to the roots of it.
Well, we should put it together one day, hey?
It would be my honor. And you know, when the guys contacted me, I said, you know what, if it is kings, presidents, queens, you name it, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. But somebody like Mick Doohan.
Hey RJ, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Same here. It's really a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time to do this. Honestly, thank you.
All the best, and we'll be in touch.
Take care.
You too. Ciao, ciao.